Welcome to the Girl You Totally Got This podcast. My name is Courtney Martin.
And I'm Abigail Morris.
And we are so excited to be here, and we wanted to really create a space for either aspiring female entrepreneurs or already, if you're already there, or just if you are looking to be empowered and elevated in whatever you're doing right now. Abby and I, we have different stories, different backgrounds, and for this first episode, we were going to share with you where we came from, where we are today.
I think it's important to note that Courtney and I have known each other since we were like 5 years old. Mm-hmm. We went to elementary school together. We were best friends for a phase during elementary and middle school, and we went to high school together and college.
In college.
We both
go Gators.
Go Gators. And although for many of those years we didn't hang out, we didn't see each other, we didn't talk, for no other reason than just we went our separate ways and did different things. But it wasn't until about 3 years ago that we reconnected, and what brought us together was this common desire for change. I had seen you posting on on LinkedIn about your Courtney Martin mindset, your winning mindset program. And I could just tell at that time that you were going through a massive expansion within your consciousness, and you were really changing the way that you viewed the world. And I was too. I think if we go far back, I'd always struggled with mental health since I was a little girl. And that led to a lot of different things in my life that manifested through substance abuse, through codependency, through major depression, OCD, anxiety. I mean, it ran the gamut. And a few years ago, I had hit rock bottom again. And I was working, really hard at my career in corporate. I was really struggling with substances, but nobody could tell from the outside because I had it all together. But I was really struggling inside, and I needed a change. So that was when I made the decision to kind of flip the switch and do whatever it took to heal. And that's when I reached back out to you.
Yeah, and it's so funny because we both say that we hit rock bottom and they look different. Mm-hmm. I was in a really competitive corporate sales position for years, and I was just kind of going through the motions. I didn't know I was going through the motions. I didn't know I was experiencing burnout because, again, like you, I had everything together on paper. If you were to look at my life, I had a successful career. I had 2 children, a husband, a nice house. The house was clean. I cooked dinner every night. It looked like I was thriving, but on the inside, I was only surviving. And I think that's so important because I didn't want to admit to anyone. I mean, my closest friends, probably my husband didn't even know for the most part. My mom, who is my best friend I talk to every day, no one knew my internal struggles because I wasn't willing to admit to myself that I was failing. And it was embarrassing. It's hard to admit when you don't have it all together and you're unhappy. And I think I would have kept on this track because I felt restrained by my golden handcuffs because I was making good money, and financially we were doing well, but I was so unhappy with what I was doing career-wise. I was so unfulfilled and just spread too thin. And if it wasn't for my grandmother passing away, I probably would still be in that really unhappy relationship with my career. And, I had never had someone pass away that close to me. And I think if you have had that and you've gone through that really hard experience, it changes you, and it forever changed me. But I remember looking at her and going, oh my gosh, and it hit me, and I did not expect this at all. It hit me, and all I could think about was one day that's going to be me taking my last breath. And if that day were today, would I be able to say I lived my life to the fullest with 0 regrets? And I just sat there going, the answer is no. It's absolutely no. And so from that day forward, I went, I've got to change. And so a few months later, I quit my job, and I think started meeting with you just for coffee, maybe once a month afterwards. And you and I were both like, okay, we both quit our jobs. We don't really know where we want to go. We don't really know our next steps. We knew we didn't want to go back into corporate America. We knew we wanted to create something of our own, but there is no playbook on that. There is no playbook on this self-actualization journey that we both went on separately and together. And so really it was a beautiful thing where we started really mentoring each other during those coffee breaks.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was your moment, your defining moment with your grandmother passing, that catapulted you into this new direction. And mine was, I was sitting with a needle in my hand, and I was about to use a needle for the first time in over 15 years. And I have a daughter. I'm a single parent.
It gave me chills.
Yeah. And I mean, it brings tears to my eyes because I was sitting there with this needle in my hand, and I was debating, like, if you do this, you know the next step, you know where you're going, and you know that you're not going to make it. And you have a daughter and you're already struggling. Like, this is going to make it so much harder to bounce back from a place where you are already so deep. And thank God, I just picked up the phone and I called my parents. And I said, guys, I'm struggling. I need help. I've got to do this on my own because I know how. I had to go to rehab 20 years prior, or 15 years prior, when I was in veterinary school in the Caribbean, and I had to drop out of veterinary school because my substance abuse was so bad. And here I was again, this time a parent, this time, a successful career. But I was broken. And for me, part of this journey for me, and I've known this my whole life, and I don't recommend it for anybody, but since I was a young child, I was prescribed medication for mental health, for depression, and I always fought it. I fought it my entire life. And unfortunately, my journey was to learn how to be healthy on my own. Mm-hmm. And that meant that I had to experience a lot of pain and a lot of suffering and a lot of dark moments. But I always knew inside me that there was a way for me to heal, be healthy, be fulfilled, and not have all of these issues that were happening in my life, these cycles of codependency and low self-worth and not feeling like I'm good enough. Like, I knew there was a way out. Mm-hmm. And this time, in this way, I don't want to say I figured it out, because I haven't figured it out, but I have healed so many aspects of myself, my psyche, my emotional well-being, my codependency, my low self-esteem, that I am able today to elevate myself and get outside my comfort zone, to start a new career, to quit that job. Mm-hmm. And I mean, when I made this decision, again, I had been suffering from substance abuse, but that led me into burnout because I had been in a state of fight or flight most of my life. Yeah. And the combination of that and codependency that I was experiencing at that time, I just completely shut down. And the thought of going back to the life that I had been living was, it was a no-go.
Right.
You had
no other choice.
I had no other choice. So I quit my job. I sold my house. I moved into my grandparents' small home in a neighborhood that is not the nicest. And I've been using that money from the selling of my dream home, by the way. I had a farm with a horse and a pond and a pool. Like, it was my dream. But I sold it all because I was willing to sacrifice everything to create a life of fulfillment and peace. And so that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, no, and that is so amazing. And you taught me so much when we first started connecting. I was all, about mindset, because mindset for me was how, I dove into the science of it all. I had no idea. Really, it boils down to we have so much more control over our circumstances and our situations than we think. Yes. And so I just became infatuated and really obsessed with learning as much as I could about the mindset. And I saw that had I had these practices when I was in corporate America, I probably would have been more successful, but happier. And so it really opened my eyes to, gosh, people really need to understand these practices because they're life-changing, and they changed my life. And so when we started talking, you are a healer and a teacher and a lot of other things, but you really taught me healing. Mm-hmm. And, it's funny because we all think of, healing from, something big and traumatic in your life. And a lot of people, I don't identify with something like that. A lot of people don't. But when we started talking, I realized I had a lot of healing to do as far as limiting beliefs, as far as, things that happen as we live life that you hold on to, these old belief systems. And through the mindset work, I knew the science, I knew the primal brain, I knew it was biology and psychology and neurology and all that, but I didn't understand the origins, and those are the wounds that need to be healed.
Absolutely.
And so that's why that's where the Golden Mindset program came from, because I realized I couldn't attain the level of success that I wanted until I healed. And so many women, I think, who want to be empowered and want to step into their power need these tools. We came together and went, oh my goodness, there is such a need for this program for women to have a playbook, really, and guide them through the process of setting themselves up for success in whatever endeavor they're trying to attain.
Right. Absolutely. And, so my journey is all about healing. And through this process, again, when I hit that rock bottom, I had never felt like I had a purpose. I didn't know what it was. Well, I take that back. When I was a child, I wanted to be a veterinarian my whole life. And then I got to veterinary school and I had to drop out because I was sick. And so after that, I was floundering, and my self-worth in the gutter. After that, it was like, oh, well, I'm not worthy. I don't deserve good things. I don't deserve wealth. I don't deserve happiness, so my journey of healing made me then be able to come full circle and realize the tools that I learned to heal myself, to regulate my nervous system, regulate my emotions, are the same tools that make executives successful, that make business people excel and, lead. They make true leaders, because these are the foundation tools of success. Yeah. And it transcends not only healing from wounds, but being successful and elevating yourself. Because if you don't have these grounding techniques, you oftentimes don't have the self-worth or the courage to step into your power and get outside your comfort zone. Because what we're doing requires us to be uncomfortable every day.
Every day.
Every day we have to be uncomfortable, do something new, reach out to somebody new, believe that we're capable of something bigger.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's, and everyone has a story, right? Everyone has a place where they were broken, or they hit rock bottom. Most likely that is the source for your passion and your purpose.
Right.
And I think that, a lot of times when you're going through this, you're going, why is this happening to me? Why me? But really, we need to shift our perspective and say, no, this is happening for me. And it's really not until you step out of it that you can see all of the heartbreaks and traumas and struggles that we go through really are for a larger purpose. And you're right. In order to be successful, you have to heal those limiting beliefs. A lot of people out there listening to this probably are going, I would love to do my own thing. Yeah, I would love to quit my 9-to-5 and, start my own business with my passion or my hobbies. But there's only one thing stopping you, and it's not external, it's internal. And it's that I can't voice.
Yep.
And it is so loud and it's so powerful. But you can do it, and this is the entire reason for this podcast, for women to come to a space to be inspired, to know that you can have anything you want. You can be anyone you want to be. It is already within you. You already possess everything you need to step into that role. You just need to know how to use those tools.
Preach it, sister. Seriously, we do.
Yeah.
And, I always thought there's something inherently wrong with me. I am broken, X, Y, and Z. And now I realize I'm whole. There was never anything wrong with me. There was just, I'm sensitive. And the way that I interpreted the world, my brain works a little different. Okay, sure. But now the way that it works, I know how to work with it. It's not the villain in my story anymore.
Right.
And for the longest time, my mind was the villain in my story. And I didn't even realize it. And, through these practices, through a lot of work, I realized that my mind is a tool to help me. And when I let it run wild, we go crazy. I call myself a spiritual diva because it's hard being me.
Oh, I love that. A spiritual diva.
Yeah, it takes
I
a
love
lot
that.
of work every day, consistent action to maintain health. And it's the same with our careers. It's the same with our families. It takes consistent action every day.
Yep.
And if we're not willing to do that, we can't expect great change. Because great change truly comes in the small things that we choose to do daily. We can't change overnight. And if we decide that today I'm just going to change everything because I want to live this life, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
You have to take small, incremental steps and give yourself a pat on the back when you actually accomplish something small, because it's a big deal in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
And so that's where our programs come together. We do the healing, then we do the mindset, and you're really set up for massive success.
So that's why I love our program, Golden Mindset, so much, because even we have individual clients as well as clients together for the Golden Mindset. But for my mindset courses, when I was doing one-on-one coaching with my clients, I kept seeing where they were getting stuck, and it was the same place. It was limiting beliefs. And we would talk about it, and I would coach them on the tools and how to utilize them, but the same things kept popping up, and they were in that fight or flight loop, and they couldn't get off. And so that was just an aha moment for me. And I went, oh my gosh, I've skipped a step, because you have to heal in order to really envelop the mindset tools to set you up for success. So it's just such a wonderful collaboration, because you first have the healing part of the course where you go through this process with Abby, and you can talk a little bit about that. And then the second part is the different mindset tools to really push you towards your power and step into it and become the person that you want to be.
Absolutely. I feel like the tools that we teach, these are like the tools to be human.
Yeah.
And we need a class in being human. Yeah. And it needs to start in pre-K, at home. Everybody needs to be teaching these tools to our children, to ourselves, because it truly empowers you.
And not start at 40.
That's right. But you know what? Here we are. We did it. And we can change, we can have that. Our children get to see a different side of us. So we get to start showing them these pieces that are vital to just being a healthy human. And that's why I'm a certified holistic life coach. And the holistic piece, that's the ticket.
Yeah.
The ticket is holistic health in every aspect, whether it's spiritual, physical, mental, and emotional, because all four are required for you to really harness your power and accomplish whatever you have your mindset, whether it's a business or family or mental health. I mean, it's just holistic health is the answer to success in every facet of your life.
Well, and I love that you said that, because you and I, at the beginning, we had success. We had financial success, but we didn't have anything else. And we landed at the bottom. So it's not just about the money in your bank account. It's not just about your career accolades.
No.
And if you keep on that path and you neglect the fulfillment piece, the self-love piece, it's not going to be sustainable. And that's what this course does, is it helps you achieve sustained success in all facets of your life.
Absolutely. And it truly is a mindset thing. So even though the healing, because our thoughts, our limiting beliefs, that is mindset, but that is entrenched. Those stories, which is a mindset, are entrenched in our body and our past. And that's what we're living through. So we're really helping you release the past, let go of those stories, so that you can change your mindset and elevate yourself so that you see things in a completely different way. It takes a growth mindset.
Yeah.
I change the way I view the world almost every single day. When I'm given new information, I change my mindset, because it makes sense.
Yeah.
That's how we evolve. That's how we evolve our mind. That's how we evolve our spirit. That's how we evolve our life, is through collecting information and changing our mindset after we receive, information that aligns with a different story.
Yeah.
We don't have to be
process
stuck.
of information.
Right. And the truth is, most of us get stuck. We are in a fixed mindset on who we are. And that's the narrative that we follow most of our life. Well, this is just who I am. No, honey, that's a trauma response.
Yeah.
That's not who you are. You aren't lazy. You aren't an anxious person. These are just adaptations that you brought into this, this story because of the past. But those are aspects of yourself that you can reconcile and heal. And when you do, you expand.
Yeah.
And when you expand, you grow.
Yep. Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. And I'm just so thankful to call you business partner.
Absolutely.
And good friend. And I've said this in first grade, you were the smartest person I knew. And still to this day, that still remains. So thank you for going on this journey with me. And I'm very excited for what's to come. And I invite you to listen to our podcast, and we hope to deliver inspiration to you guys, and reach out to us. We have a Facebook community called The Golden Mindset. Abby has her own website, ourgoldenshadows.com, and I'm CourtneyMartinMindset.com. And just reach out and say hello, and we'll talk to you next time.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us.